I'm Brandon Malone here with the Woburn Public Media Center, and we're on location tonight at the O'Brien Arena as the Woburn Tanners get set to host the Duxbury Dragons. The Tanners are first place in the Middlesex League and have to be very careful with this unfamiliar opponent, as the Dragons are not to be taken lightly. I'm Brandon Malone here with the Woburn Public Media Center, and today we're on location surrounded by a sea of black and gold fans at Anderson Train Station as the Boston Bruins get set to celebrate the 2011 Stanley Cup Championship. There's fans here everywhere ready for this parade, and they are amped up and ready to go. I've never seen so many people at Anderson Station this early in the morning. Woburn's Warriors of the Blue Line come into tonight's action clinging to a slim one-point lead as both Winchester and Reading are nipping at their heels. Both teams understand the magnitude of this game, as the winner in all likelihood will get an invite to the most exclusive event in all of Massachusetts hockey, the Super 8 State Championship. It's been another banner year here for the Lady Tanners, as they recently clinched another Middlesex League title with their victory over Stoneham. Winchester's been hot themselves as of late, coming into tonight's contest winners of 5 of their last 6 games. Both teams have big postseason aspirations, as the Lady Sachems look to redeem their state championship title from a year ago in the Division II bracket. What do you have to do as a coach to keep your team focused and prepared to come out here and have the impending success that we all expect with the state tournament?
We expect the girls to come out here, and we expect them to be prepared every time that they come out, step on the ice. Every game is meaningful.
Go against a very tough Burlington squad here coming into Connolly Stadium this Friday night. What are some of the things you're going to have to do on offense to be able to move the ball up and down the field?
We're going to have to come out flying. I mean, it's one of the biggest games of the year, so we're going to be prepared and we're going to be ready to go.
1-1 game here after 2. Take us inside the locker room. What are some of the adjustments that you and your coaching staff are talking about as we come into this third period?
Well, I just think we have to really be strict on our own end defensively, give nothing up, take no chances in the offensive end, especially our defensemen.
Wednesday night, there were a lot of excited fans here to see the Bruins win the Stanley Cup on Vancouver ice. What were you doing for the game, and how will you remember this for the rest of your life?
I was just sitting at home watching it with my dad, but we were all, when they scored the 4th goal, we didn't even, and when they announced that they won, we were both just shocked. I didn't really scream or anything. I was just like, they won? Really?
Well, I think that sums it up perfectly for all Bruins fans. Shock and awe. A lot of action back and forth later on. It was very conservative earlier in the period. Were there any strategy adjustments you made during the period that you can attribute that to?
Well, I just think that everyone got comfortable in the game.
We tip things off on the hardwood as the Lady Tanners take on the undefeated Reading Rockets at Taurus Gymnasium. With just 3.8 seconds remaining on the clock and the score tied at 51, we see Jody Parker inbound the ball to Melanie Perkins, and it's good! The Lady Tanners hand the Rockets their first loss of the season, 53-51. The Lady Tanners take on the Stoneham Spartans this Friday. Over on the boys' side of the court, we see Tanner big man Derek Coughlin working the post down low and naturally following up his own rebound for 2 points. The Tanners were able to ground the Rockets by a final score of 68-50. Next up, we hit the ice as the Tanners took on the Middlesex League rival Melrose on Thursday. Woburn's local puckmen were able to secure a 5-2 victory on the strength of great goaltending provided by freshman goalie Cam McGlashing. The Tanners host Duxbury on Thursday in a matchup that has major postseason implications. The Lady Tanners were able to continue their winning ways against Acton Boxborough as we see Siobhan Duran finish off a slick little backhander over the shoulder. The girls cruised to an 8-2 victory over the Colonials in their final tune-up before the state tournament. I'm Brandon Malone, and that'll do it for today's edition of WPMC Sports. Hope's eternal for 30 teams, unless you're the Royals, of course, as they look to take down the 2010 champion San Francisco Giants. Baseball seems to be on solid ground these days, with the steroid scandal behind them and labor peace. The Celtics brass has been as honest about Shaq's status as Rafael Palmeiro was about steroid use. Shaquille O'Neal will be back tomorrow, period. We saw how that worked out for Palmeiro. Now the question is whether the Celtics will share the same egg on their face. Ever the Warrior, Pedroia rushed back to return to the lineup, only to be put on the shelf for good after his 2-game return in August. Youkilis's problems were just a microcosm of the Sox season himself, as a thumb injury derailed his otherwise stellar 2010. After watching a 4-stroke lead vanish at Sunday's Masters tournament, many questioned the young Irishman's resolve. Fans at home didn't have to wait very long to see how McIlroy would handle the pressure. He took on the U.S. Open with a vengeance and blew away the competition. Racially motivated criticisms of Cam Newton? I don't think so. Anytime you've stolen laptops, been accused of accepting cash in a pay-for-play scheme, and then to top it all off, host a press conference in which you refer to yourself in the third person several times? People are going to question your leadership. What I think's been amazing about this relationship, more so than anything else, is I can't in recent memory recall any player who distrusted his team more than Daisuke Matsuzaka distrusted the Red Sox brass. I mean, you're talking about two polarizing opposite ends of the spectrum here. Daisuke says white, the Red Sox say black. Never once did they seem to agree on anything. With Kendrick Perkins on this basketball team, to me, I believe they were the favorite to go ahead and represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals once again in 2011. Without him, I don't think they get there. Let's face it, gentlemen, they didn't pitch, they didn't hit, they didn't run, they didn't defend very well. So what does that leave? That leaves you at 0-3 at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Again, to the credit of this hockey team, they're very good about putting the past behind them, and that's exactly what they did after Game 2 on Saturday night. We heard Claude Julien come right out and say, that's over, we're not talking about that anymore. They didn't care. Let's face it, they would have loved to have seen Alex Burrows suspended. He wasn't. That's it. They turn the page. Yes, he goes out and he kills them in Game 2. Doesn't matter. It's over. What I would like to see now is let that be a motivator for the Bruins that, as Mickey came out in Rocky 2 when he showed up on Rocky's door and said, I think we ought to knock his block off after Apollo came on the TV talking all kinds of trash about him. That's what this Bruins team needs in Game 3.